Okay, and we're back, we hope. So it's really different this time shooting live, but what we were talking about was the multimorphic, which if you haven't seen a picture on our Facebook page, there's a picture of Jonathan signing some documents. What are those?
So that was my pre-order. Tim, we talked about after the show last night, after the podcast last night, Joe had put in his pre-order for the machine. And Tim, I had seen their pre-ordering system, and I just thought to myself, I don't know if I want to do it. I don't know what if I want to do it. And then after hearing Joe last night, playing Rocks last night, which is one of the games we played, I was convinced. So let's just go ahead and do it just in case. And guys, if you guys want to get in your pre-order, you can go to multimorphic.com and get that in. And Tim, like we mentioned, 5 games if you pre-order today, you get with the system. If you wait till after today, you only get the one. Okay, which is Lexi Lightspeed Escape from Earth. But if you pre-order today, you get Lexi Lightspeed Escape from Earth, you get Secret Agent Showdown, you get Cannon Lagoon, you get Rocks, and you get Barnyard. And so with those in mind, if you have any interest in the platform, Tim, I think it's a really good time to go ahead and pre-order at multimorphic.com and get those in. So I put in my pre-order. And like I said, actually playing Rocks last night also convinced me. And Tim, what did you think of Rocks, which is basically, like we talked about, asteroids for pinball?
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, is that, just because anytime you have a video pinball combination, that's exactly what I expect it to be. I expect it kind of like Baby Pack, to be half video game and half pinball. And that's kind of what it does. It looks like asteroids, kind of these huge rocks are coming down, and you're shooting a pinball at them, and whenever you roll across them, they explode and go into pieces and stuff. But it doesn't just play and look good. It actually has some features, and the flippers kind of get weaker if you start, your shield goes down. So talk about that a little bit, Jonathan.
So there's a shield that actually kind of covers your flippers on the playfield, and so as rocks hit the shield or as lasers come in, you kind of take damage. Those shields take damage, and so we never got to a point, Tim, where like our flippers actually took the damage, but apparently what happens is once the flippers start taking damage, they stop working as well. And so as you continue to wear down your flippers, eventually they won't work at all. That's the whole key, right? And so I thought that was a very interesting dynamic. But the biggest thing, Tim, is that it's fun hitting the rocks and then watching them explode and then trying to get all of the rocks in there. And it's no different, Tim, than playing asteroids, right? I mean, it really is a very similar concept. I mean, I hate to keep kind of harping that, but it really is a similar concept to asteroids where you're breaking apart the rocks. And so, and then I like the way that you advance to the next level. So you break all the rocks, but it doesn't just warp you to the next level. You have to hit it into one of the pop-up boxes that they have in order to progress. And so it really is fun. I mean, I think I told the guy at the Multimorphic booth last night, it's more fun than it has a right to be. It really is. It shouldn't be that much fun. And it really is. For a mini game, it's fantastic. But these are the kind of games, Tim, you can't find on any other platform. Nobody's going to dedicate a whole machine to rocks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
They would never do that.
And you would get tired if that's all you ever played.
Exactly. But the fact that you have these 4 other games, if you pre-order today, that you can play as well. I mean, Lexi Lightspeed, a very traditional pinball machine game, but Cannon Lagoon, as we played, is a lot of fun. Very quick play, very fast. The thing about Cannon Lagoon, Tim, is there's no like having to juggle the ball or anything. It's basically feed you a ball, shoot it. Feed you a ball, shoot it. That's the whole gameplay to it. Mm-hmm. And so with that in mind, it's not like you have to have a lot of ball control. You basically just have to, it teaches kids, it really does, how to, let the ball travel down the flipper and then to hit the targets that they need to hit, which is basically the first part of learning pinball, okay, is that you don't have to be flipping all the time. And so with that in mind, I think that Cannon Lagoon's a great way to introduce pinball to your kids. And I think you mentioned it last night on the podcast, Tim. You start off with Cannon Lagoon, you move to Rocks, which you have to bounce the ball a little bit more, and then you can move to something like Lexi Lightspeed. And when that same kid who's been playing all 3 of those games moves on to an actual pinball machine, they'll know exactly what to do. And so it's a really interesting kind of progressive step in getting your kids and other people involved in pinball.
Yeah, I agree totally. And, it's just a different, and you see the potential of more games. It's not you're buying 5, but you're buying also the system. It's kind of like getting that when you got that Super Nintendo and it come with Mario Brothers or Duck Hunt or something, but then you knew they were going to be coming out with some cooler games, but you had to have the system. And so I would say that if you're even halfway considering P3 by Multimorphic, I would go ahead and place that pre-order because of what the system is showing that it's capable of doing.
Absolutely. And so you guys need to check it out, multimorphic.com. If you pre-order by the end of the day on the website or in person here at the show, you will get the 5 games. And, I mean, Tim, it sounds great. And plus, they're still working on Cosmic Kart Racing, which you will not get in this bundle. But it sounds like a fantastic game that's going to be coming out. I mean, they're really harping on the networking features of that one and of the complex different paths and races you'll be able to do. And so when that one comes out, you'll have the opportunity, obviously, to buy it. But I mean, with all of these games, I think you're really going to get a great value for your buck. I know it's $98.75. That's the final price, I think, is what they told us yesterday in the seminar. $9,875, Tim. That is not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. But when you start looking at games like Spider-Man that cost $6,500, and here for that $9,800, you're basically getting two pretty full games, and you're getting 3 mini games with that, and you're getting a really good bang for your buck after you consider everything that you're getting. So check out multimorphic.com. The pre-orders are no cash down, so it's not like you're committed to buy anything when you put the pre-order in. They will contact you when they're getting ready to build your machine, and then if you want to, at that point, put your money down and place the order for it, you're more than welcome to, but you do not have to at any time. That is not required. And so check out multimorphic.com for more information on that. And then, Tim, before we left the game room today, we actually got to play Hobbit one more time.
Yeah.
So tell us about your experience with Hobbit the second time through here at the show.
Well, it's one of those games. It seems like the more I play it, the better it is, and so I'm starting to hit my shots. I'm starting to get this. I did have one ball get stuck and it tilt, and if I was at home, it wouldn't be no big deal. But there's a line of people behind me, so I actually had to tilt the machine to get the ball unstuck, and lost my turn.
It didn't cycle through the normal procedure it does when there's a lost ball until you tilted it.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if that's just a code or if it's just a setting or what it is, but that was a little disappointing. But other than that, I really would like to own one day, and so I guess we want to just talk about the show in general. And how was your thoughts on the show overall?
Yeah, and I think this is kind of a wrap-up show. So we talked a little bit about our thoughts. We really engraved the show, which is something we normally do last night, because we just got so excited about all the new stuff. But here's the thing, guys. To me, this show, and I know there's the Chicago show and several other shows around the country, this one has become a very premier show because of the fact that pretty much every manufacturer is represented here. So we had Multimorphic, we had Spooky Pinball, we had Stern, we had Jersey Jack, we had Dutch Pinball, we had Highway Pinball. So, I mean, with all that in mind, I mean, basically all the major pinball manufacturers were here showing off their games, and it was a great chance for us to play a lot of games. So we played Full Throttle. We didn't play Big Lebowski, but we played it before. We played Spooky Pinball. We played Rob Zombie's Spook Show International, and then we played obviously Ghostbusters. We played Hobbit. And we played the Multimorphic. So we got to play basically the new games for every manufacturer here at the show. And Tim, is a great opportunity to get an idea of what people may want for their game rooms if you guys are looking for purchases, but also to get an idea of where the industry's at as a whole. And Tim, I'm telling you right now, the future is really bright for pinball at this point. I don't see any slowing as far as the market goes. What about you?
Yeah, it seems like it's turned a corner and headed back in the right upward direction. So I'm hoping that the next few years are really going to be good for pinball. Another thing is there were a lot of vendors here, and we saw like some brand new dollies that they're using to move games with that looked really interesting. So, all the game room memorabilia and different things. We played a little Star Castle today. Just to having a good time and fun, but mostly. We talk to a lot of people and people that say they watch and things like that. So that's what really, to me, is the best thing. And I'll always give the show. It just seems like every year it's so organized. You don't see electricity power shutting down. We saw Sean Christian one time, and it looked like he was sweating and working so hard. But he does. Thank you, Sean. You do a great job. You don't see, there's down games, and everybody gets that. There are people working on a few games, but overall, there are plenty of games to play. If you just, some of the main titles we had to wait in line for, but that's normal. If we just wanted to play something, there was always a game to play. So, I saw a lot of families there. I saw it with their kids or husband and wives or boyfriend and girlfriends and things like that. So, just a fun time overall. And, of course, we'll start looking forward to next year as soon as we leave here.
Yeah, and Tim, this year we're actually hitting 3 shows, of course, and so we're hitting Atlanta here coming up, and then we're going to hit Houston again. Like you said, though, to me this is maybe the premier show that we go to every year, and maybe one of the premier shows around the country because we have so much here, and Ed and Paul do a fantastic job of organizing everything. Tim, I'm going to give this an A+ this year because I really do feel like this for me is my favorite year that I've been, and I can't say that. I mean, there have been past years where we had a lot of fun, but seeing all the new stuff, playing old stuff, And Tim, like you said, the amount of games that were here versus the number of people that were here was perfect. Right. It's like we had to wait in line for some things, but it was never for a very long time, and we were able to get in. Even Ghostbusters, the Ghostbusters line went really quickly, which I was surprised by because I thought it might go a little bit slower. But it was actually really good. So, Tim, what about you? What do you rate this show? I'm giving it an A+. I don't know if they could do any better, to be honest with you. I mean, I think they found the right venue, the right people to bring here, the right location. Parking is great. There's enough hotels in this area that everybody can have a place to stay if they want to who's coming in. It really is a great show. And if you guys are anywhere near the area or surrounding states, highly recommend you check out the Texas Pinball Festival. TexasPinball.com if you guys haven't been to the website. So, Tim?
Yeah, I want to give them a solid A because I would always say maybe there's room for improvement, but it's hard to think of an area because I know the fact that everybody is volunteer and just works together and does everything and gets along. You know, you don't see arguments and things like that. Everybody seems to be having a good time, which is really what it's about. It's about fun. So on a fun level, it's A+ every time. You know, I'm sure that there are areas that probably, if anything, they probably need more volunteers and people, especially if you live in this area and you have pinball games. I'm sure that they could always use more help because it has become so big. Wow, it's crazy how big. So, and I look forward to helping more in future years and stuff that we're here. But anyway, that's about all I got to say about it. I'm about ready to pack up and get home. How about you?
Yeah, definitely. And they're about to kick us out of our hotel room. So, but no, guys, it was a great show. And thanks for following us on the live streams. I know we had some problems, Tim. Some of the YouTube videos may have gotten cut off at the end, and so we apologize for that. We're still new to this whole YouTube streaming thing, Tim. This is the first time we've really been doing it. We did some tests throughout the week, but you really can't take into account data and Wi-Fi, especially when you have this many people in one area, Tim. It really, the data on everybody's phones basically goes to zilch at some point. And so we try to take that into account as best we could, but you'll see that some of the interviews got cut off. We apologize to vendors and people we talked to if your interviews got cut off, guys, because it was just, growing pains, if nothing else. We're getting it out. We feel like this was the best way to cover the Texas Pinball Festival because we were actually out on the floor. We actually got to give a few interviews right there with the games in the background, and we had good enough equipment that the sound came through pretty well. So hopefully this will be kind of the new norm, but we're also hoping we can get better at the streaming stuff, get to a point where we have consistent data where we can get things in and out and not have to worry so much. And right now we're actually streaming in high def, but I think it's because we don't have quite the interference we had from the festival across the street. We're actually staying in a different hotel. So anyway, we're going to sign off, I guess. This is it from the Texas Pinball Festival 2016. If you're here and you're watching, safe trip home for everybody, and hopefully we'll talk to you guys on the podcast. So the next one, we're going to skip March. So the next one will be in April. We'll have an April podcast coming up, audio podcast on the website. And then, Tim, maybe we'll actually do some videos at some point again, like actual arcade repair videos. Me and Tim have already talked about that. We're going to have to clean out the shop. You want to live stream that?
Oh, goodness, I wouldn't show that to anybody. I don't even want my mother to see that one.
I know, it's pretty messy in there. We have a lot of, obviously games and stuff in storage like you guys do, so we'll be cleaning out storage buildings very soon. Maybe we'll take some video of that and put it up.
Have some sales, too.
That's right. If somebody's looking for stuff, we'll probably have some stuff to give away. But anyway, signing off from the Texas Pinball Festival. Tim, thank you for all your hard work this weekend. And, guys, I hope you guys appreciate all the work that Tim put in. He definitely did some great stuff and, even got to crack a couple of jokes here and there and have some fun. So.
Well, hats off to Texas Pinball Festival once again.
You're going to throw it up in the air. I think it'll hit the ceiling. Woo! There you go, guys. You guys have a great one. Thanks for tuning in to Arcade Repair Tips coverage of the Texas Pinball Festival 2016, and we'll see you next year right here in Frisco, Texas.